Hi, everyone, and welcome to the virtual launch party for Pumpkin. I'm Mandy with the Northwest Texas Teen Book Festival and Irving Public Library, and I am thrilled to welcome the star of our show, Julie Murphy.
Hello, wherever I am in the
Wherever
box.
you are. You know her, of course, from books like Dumplin, Puddin', Dear Sweet Pea, and now, of course, Pumpkin. And we're also joined tonight by two other amazing authors. You know John Corey Whaley from books like Where Things Come Back, Noggin, and Highly Illogical Behavior. And our friend Adam Silvera has written books like The Infinity Cycle, What If It's Us, and They Both Die at the End. So I'm going to go ahead and let these lovely authors take it away, and then I'll be back at the end to help wrap things up.
Thanks, Mandy.
Thanks, Mandy. Julie, happy Pumpkin Day, excuse me.
There.
I know, we're off to a great start. Happy Pumpkin Day. Happy, congratulations on completing your series. How are you feeling?
I didn't have any feelings about it until this weekend. And then I started thinking oh, I've only been writing these books since 2013. And that whole part of my life is about to end. Time is a weird thing. And then I started having an existential crisis. And I was like, I don't think that this is how you sell books, is through an existential crisis. So I should clean up my internet act. But instead I got on the internet and was like, I've been spending a lot of time staring at the wall lately, thinking about how this book's coming out. How's everyone else doing? So
Lovely.
That's where I'm at.
Cool. Before we also, we all have some really personal histories between the three of us. So before we kind of kick into that, we just want to make sure that before it gets really nonsensical up in here, for Julie to give us a breakdown on what Pumpkin is about.
Yes. So Pumpkin is the follow-up. I hesitate to call it a sequel, but the follow-up to Dumplin and then Puddin'. All those books are set in the same universe with the same cast of characters, with a different lead at the helm of each book. And Pumpkin introduces readers to Waylon Brewer. Waylon is fat, because that's kind of what I like to write about, is fat kids. He's a fat gay kid, and he's obsessed with drag. He loves his twin sister. They are the best of friends. They have big plans for what they plan on doing in the future. And one evening, Waylon is watching his favorite drag TV show. It's the season finale. He has his hopes pinned on a very specific drag queen winning. It's also a fat drag queen, so Waylon has a lot of feelings tied to that. And the drag queen that Waylon wants to win does not win. And then Waylon gets dumped by a secret hookup situation, who is going to start seeing someone else. And then Waylon also finds out that his twin sister has different plans for the future that she's been keeping from him. And they're graduating seniors, so he's pretty upset about all this. And so in this sort of fit of frustration, Waylon decides that he's going to create his own audition tape for this favorite drag show called Fairest of Them All. Oh wait, no, Fiercest of Them All. We changed the name of the drag show 500 times, but I think we settled on Fiercest of Them All. And so he creates this tape, and it's sort of the kind of thing that he wakes up in the morning feeling embarrassed about. There's still a little bit of makeup smudged across his face. And then over the course of the next few days, the tape ends up getting leaked accidentally to the rest of the school. And so as sort of a social retaliation against him, Waylon is nominated for prom queen at school. And Hannah, who some people might recognize from the previous books, is dating his twin sister, and Hannah gets nominated as prom king because she's definitely more of a masculine presenting lesbian. And she gets a little bit of flack for that. So she is nominated for prom king, and the two of them decide, what the hell, let's do it. And they decide to run for it in true, Dumplin Puddin' fashion in this, tiny small town. So
love it.
And drag parties, all that fun stuff.
I'm forever impressed with your concepts. Yes, Corey?
Yeah, I wanted to ask a question following up, if you don't mind, Julie.
Corey, yes, please.
First of all, thank you both so much for inviting.
I feel like I'm on CNN.
and I'm spreading the gay agenda just as well as Anderson Cooper.
I'm excited.
Better. My question is, I love that you just said they decide what the hell. It seems like your books have that theme. Your characters decide to embrace themselves and throw caution into the wind and say, what the hell? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna lean into their punchline and make other people the joke. Why is that so important to write about, Julie?
I think that for me, that feeling was like a big eureka moment in coming, and that wasn't like a drag queen pun, though it could be if you're a fan of Eureka. But that for me on my own personal journey was like a big moment where I was like, oh, everyone thinks I'm this thing. I'm going to show them that I am this thing, and it's not a bad thing. It was really for me accepting the word fat and deciding to use it in an empowering way instead of a weaponizing way. And I love the the character development that happens around a choice like that. So I think that we all have like certain things that we just keep writing about over and over and over again. And I think that for me, that's one of my things, is like that moment where you decide to like reframe your own narrative. So yeah, I like it.
And you do it so successfully. All right, do we want to break down how we all know each other?
Why we're here today? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
The origin.
Well, I mean, like you guys, wait, so Corey, did I know you right before you met Julie or the other way around?
So I believe I met Julie first.
Yeah.
I went to an event at, go figure, Irving Public Library.
Yeah.
And who is helping host this through the North Texas Teen Book Festival, and amazing people there. I love all of them. And yeah, so I go to this event, and
we're gonna talk about eventually why Adam is like doctoring himself right now.
Right.
We'll get there in case anyone's wondering.
The mystery is so fun though. Like
it's been told out to the last minute and like keep people tuned in
right
for that exact reason.
It's the very last question.
Yeah, unveil the injury. Okay.
So yeah, so basically Julie and I met at a book event. Was it my event?
It was one of your book events. I didn't even have a book out yet. This was back in like, I think this was in like 2012.
It was 2012, I think. And I
went, Just Where Things Come Back, your first novel.
Yeah.
For Where Things Come Back. And I believe I met Julie, and then maybe a few weeks later, I flew to New York and met Adam at another book event.
Yes.
So I collect people from book events, but I'm at capacity. So nobody else text me. And I'm just kidding. But when I met Julie, if you remember, I asked you, the first thing I ever asked Julie, she told me she went to a Catholic school. And I said,
a Christian school.
Sorry, Christian school.
Like
I'm sorry, it's all the same to me.
Evangelical Christian school, yeah.
It's all the same to a heathen.
Yeah, I understand.
And so I reject it all. And I'm just kidding. But basically, I said, "Oh, that's interesting. Did that make you question your faith?" And that was weird. And
yeah,
it
was like, "Hi, how are you? Did this make you lose your faith in God?" And I was like,
I thought it was a totally fair question for a first meeting. So there you go. And then I go to New York and I meet Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and did I pick up from here? Okay.
I don't know what happens then.
Then Corey and I, like shortly after that, we start dating, and then I moved to Texas.
We're like, okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we just dance around it. It's there. Yeah, and then when I was in Texas, like staying with Corey for a bit, he introduces me to Julie at, I guess, was also potentially a event at the library.
Yeah, I think it was another library event. And it was like this one wild summer. There's a reason why we're telling everyone how we met. But it was like this one wild summer. I had just sold my first book, and I was trying to like come up with a really good idea for my second book, and I was really floundering. And Corey was like fresh off some really big success for like winning like the Prince and what's the other event?
William C. Morris.
The Morris Award. I know it's a very important word. I forgot. I'm sorry. But it's fine. It's But it was like, I don't know, you know how like, I feel like it's the kind of like summer that like YA books are written about. Like we were constantly staying up to like 3 or 4 in the morning and like writing and like kind of like egging each other on. And like we went to we did a lot of stuff together through the fall while you guys were still there. And so I wanted to have my launch for the final book in the series with you guys, because it's like where it all started was with you two when I first started writing that. Like Adam, you were furiously writing.
I was writing my first book, More Happy Than Not.
Oh my gosh.
I drafted my first book.
It was to the point where it was like annoying. We were like, yeah. Adam, you have to stop. You're writing too much. We're so annoyed with you.
I was like, I had like a total insane discipline back then. Like I was writing thousands and thousands of words a day. And it was this thing that I was like, I quit my job to like be with Corey. Yeah. And I was like, okay, well, I need to make sure that like, I'm not just like moving across the country for somebody. I need to make sure that I like take care of myself as well. But I still remember like
that was a great plan, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, legitimately it worked out.
Yeah, that really worked out.
Right. But like, I remember I was like pitching Julie the then version of More Happy Than Not. And it was like so different. And there was like, I was like pitching it. And then I was like, yeah. And then there's also like, there's this ghost. And I could just see the look on like this look in Julie's eyes. I was like, I'm so confused now. And it was so helpful for me to like see like when you pitch your book and if someone doesn't get it or if they start to seem overwhelmed by it, it's like, let's take a step back. Yeah. And I removed that ghost from that book and I'm so happy. But I do like, I remember like being in that break room with you in like Corey's building and just like us standing by the fridge and just pitching. You just look so lost.
I lost. You said it was like, you didn't say ghost, you said specter.
The specter.
Sure. Yeah. And I was like, what did you say? I mean, it wouldn't have been a bad thing. It could have worked out. But anyways, that's where it all started. Like, was that summer. I wish I had like a way to turn on screen share. I don't have the pictures like on me anyways, but I have this photo of all of us at the Texas State Fair where we all got face paint. And
oh my
I don't know
God,
if you guys remember, but my spouse, Ian, decided to have his face painted like a panda. Oh my God. Are you okay, Adam? But like, it was so bad. It like, I feel like I actually should try to show this because it was.
I remember.
I don't have it on here.
That's the funniest thing I've ever remembered.
If anyone is watching this right now, I'll post the picture of Ian with panda face paint after this.
Do you have the one of me with the Wolverine face paint?
Yes, it's a picture of both of you. And I had like face paint and Corey was like,
Did I get face paint?
I don't think you got face paint. And you want to know what? You were the smarter one in the end because we all went out to eat afterwards.
Yeah. Like something I would refuse to do.
Yeah. And Ian had tried to take off his face paint and instead just looked like an emo kid / a wrestler with like all this paint streaking down his face. And
that was a magical summer.
That was 2012.
Yeah.
Wild. Yeah.
So,
and I just remember too, like seeing Dumplin get like announced for the first time too. And I like still remember like buying that book in Brooklyn, like at the Barnes and Noble, and I was like texting with you about it, and you were like, I'm so nervous. I feel like I was going to buy this book. And then of course it debuted #1 on the New York Times bestseller list, and which is huge. And I remember like, I still to this day, like when did Dumplin like originally publish?
2015, September 15th, 2015.
Okay. Also, it was like in the year that I debuted. Okay. So, and then, but I remember like reading that line from Willow Dean, like, I want a person to kiss hello. And for me, that's like the most like romantic line I've ever read. And I still think about it. Like, I remember, you get every now and again, like, what's a line that sticks out to you? I'm always like, I want a person to kiss hello, like Willow Dean, Dumplin, Julie Murphy. Like, and so it's really sweet to be able to, be involved in the finale of this universe for now. I mean, I know like doors don't always like forever close on these things,
but
you're done.
I'm done for now. For sure.
Let's talk about that.
My contractual obligations. Oh my gosh. Talk about the end. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, let's talk about why is it the end of your Clover City venture, of your journey in Clover City?
It felt like first off, we were coming up on like senior year. Like I had one more character left. and like one more, like I think it starts with like everyone in like 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. And so it felt like there was like one more like, you know, way to like really finish this off, and not only finish it off, but it felt like a good time to like catch everyone up on everyone else's lives and have like a peek into like all the previous characters so that we could know like where they're headed after high school and what their plans are. But it also, I don't know, I had this idea for Wayland's story for a while, and I couldn't decide if it should be a Clover City novel or not, but it just felt like it so perfectly like bookended like the whole experience. Like, especially if you go back to like Willow Dean's first experiences with drag, I feel like there's such a special relationship between like fat women or fat people and like the queer community, and of course there's like overlap there with like lots of fat people being queer and all these different things, but a lot of fat people really find a home in the queer community even if they aren't queer. So it just felt like a really good way to tie it all together. Wayland kind of felt like a little bit of a missing link, you know. So
Yeah.
No, it's yeah, and I mean, I know that before you guys revealed the cover for Pumpkin, like we were texting a little bit, and you know, there's tends to be a lot of like issue with from, you know, some readers about like women writing like queer boys. Like, do you want to speak a little bit about what that means for you?
yeah, I think that there's a, I mean, I've experienced this for a long time, like since like Ramona Blue came out. I don't know
Right.
if you guys remember that, with
Yep.
just like identity policing, and putting people in a place where they have to like defend why they feel equipped to write a book. And I think that there are many extremes here. Like I'm not gonna go out and write a book about someone who is so far outside of my experience that like I can't speak to that. I don't understand like the pains and the trials of that experience. But I am a queer person and I am a fat person. And those are two main things that I brought to Wayland's experience. And he's one of my characters that I felt most connected to. And yeah, without using bad language, I think it's kind of bull, you know what I mean? I think it's kind of like telling women what to do with their creative experiences. And I don't know, I think it's a nuanced subject. I think that there are definitely probably women out there who are writing books about queer boys who have nothing or to bring to that table. They have no kind of experience in that way, and they're doing it because they feel like it's a, you know, like a hot ticket or something that's like an easy sell.
Sure.
But I also think that there's something to be said for like it, like all that said, those are my own feelings about my own books. But I also think that we need to discuss like why books about boys falling in love with boys sell better than books about girls falling in love with girls.
Yeah.
So those are like, I know that they're big, heavy discussions that we need to have. And I don't think they're going to be discussions that are going to play out in a meaningful way on a space like Twitter or things like that. So
yeah, I mean, because there really is just like too much like nuance being, you know, from like every angle. And so much of it also just comes down to as well with how you don't know someone's life. Like, I don't care if I tell you this about myself, whatever, that does not mean that you know the truth about my life. Like, you
Yeah.
get what I give you, and sometimes what I might be giving you is a story to mask like whatever my real reality is, you know. And that's redundant. And but you know, so I really just want to like strongly encourage people to always be very, 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 very mindful when they are talking about you know, the person behind a novel with like queer characters, you know, because someone doesn't have to like endanger themselves or whatever just for the chance that you might read that book. Like, it is every reader's like choice to not read something if they don't have all the answers that they want, that makes them feel comfortable moving into a space, right? Like, if you don't know the author's queer and you only want to read books by queer authors, that's fine. That is 100% your choice, right? But what we don't ever get to do is challenge someone's queer identity across all forms, because things change, people come out, and then you don't look good. You look like your history is like associated with like bullying a queer person when they were closeted, right? Like, and all for you to like, I don't know, just like to identity police. And it's like, it is like really screwed up. And you're right, like stories about queer boys do tend to like sell and trend way more than novels about like queer girls. So it's like, are we really creating a space for queer women to even like write about themselves if it doesn't
It's
seem
just like
forever?
more misogyny within the queer community, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then at the same time, like drag is not this narrow thing. Drag isn't just
Right.
gay men dressing as women.
Correct.
Drag is like a very like broad, wide open art form. So I love it, and I'm really excited that I had the chance to write about it and a publisher who believed in me to write about it. So
And gave you a fabulous cover
I
for
know.
it too.
It's really pretty.
It's so pretty. I
It's
love it.
spine.
I know.
This is the gayest spine outside of me and Adams.
It's so gay.
Oh, my spine's busted right now.
Wait, Adam, don't tell anyone. They're supposed to stay tuned for your
I
injury.
have to give them a little seed.
Till the end, yeah.
Don't
worry.
Did we want to talk some more also just about things that do happen within the queer community, right? You know, about like fatness in the queer community and like how you know, how gross that can be, like the ways that we like talk about that.
Yeah, I think that we are constantly like mimicking what, you know, without sounding like too like soapboxy and like internet talk boxy, but we're constantly mimicking things that the patriarchy has told us. And even in these safe spaces that we think we're creating, like we still have blatant fat phobia. We still are prioritizing like cis men, you know? So I think it's probably something that you guys could really speak toward too, if you have anything to say. But fat phobia in the queer community is like scarily alive.
Oh yeah. Corey, you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah. I've been a big guy my whole life, and I've always identified as a fat person. And so I think it's very interesting when you're trying to figure out your identity as a queer person, but you don't look like the other queer people that are like shown to you as an example of like, this is what gay men look like. And so, you know, I used to do the like starve myself thing and try to be and yo-yo diet and be as skinny as possible so I could be a twink or whatever, you know, and so you want to fit into these categories. And then what happens is you age and you get older and you get a more diverse friend group and you realize, oh, it's all bullshit. And most of those people are very vapid, and I don't really want to be part of this. And so, but you know, even for me, like reading a book like Dumplin was really important for me. It was important for me to be friends with Julie, who said, what the hell, and leaned in and said, hi, I'm fat. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to make you talk about it. And that was really important for me at that point in my life. And yeah, I think about it a lot. I think about queerness and being someone who doesn't fit into, well, it's also part of the patriarchy to fit into a model of the perfect man or the perfect woman. And so it's all just, first of all, I love ranting against the patriarchy, sorry, but long story short, I was at an event one time, a panel. Adam, I don't know if you're on it with me or not. We've been on a lot of crazy and gay panels together. You get mixed up, okay? And you get mixed up. So I was on a panel for mental illness, and I don't say the word crazy lightly. And I was asked, do you feel like it's been harder? How do you feel like being in LA and being an author and getting attention as someone with mental illness? And I was like, oh, nothing like how I feel about being a fat person getting all those things or being in LA. And so the audience was like, oh, wow, it's very interesting. And so it is something you always think about. And so you want to be able to be a full part of any community that you are trying to search for your identity in. And it's just, I've ranted to the point of not making sense.
No, I mean,
sense to me.
No, 100%. And I mean, like, and to like circle back to Dumplin quickly, I mean, Dumplin was like that book that really did help me register like, oh, like that's not a bad word, that's not an insult, you know. And like, and I say this openly because like,
yeah,
we can say these things, like we can admit like, oh my god, like we had major shortcomings like from the ways that we grew up or whatever. And then yeah, especially coming up with the queer community, like I grew up in New York, and like the gay scene in like Manhattan and like Hell's Kitchen, you know, is like really intense, right? Like I mean, I, as like a skinny person, like even I didn't fit in with like the mold of what gay men look like on Instagram. You know, it's and I mean, I talk about my therapist like every month or so, whatever. It's not like my most pressing thing, because there's a lot of privilege in it, but like it's like I've had body dysmorphia for like years, and it's because I'm never what people are obsessed with on Instagram. Like when you look at like the gay community and everything, like I wrote about it in Infinity Sun and the Infinity Cycle, and I'm going to write about it in the third book, because like body dysmorphia is like an ongoing thing. It's not this like, oh cool, like I had this moment and now I feel better about myself. And
yeah, I acknowledge it and it's over.
Yeah, no, and I'm like, everyone's like, oh, is he still gonna be talking about it? I'm like, yeah, and even after the series is done, like that's still gonna be with him for. I mean, I'm turning 31 in a couple weeks, like, and it's still with me, you know. And but it really was like acknowledging so much too of like, oh my god, like I watch so many shows now where I'm like New Girl is incredibly fat phobic. Friends is and like New Girl is like fat phobic until the very end. You know, and I think about how much everybody's like, oh, I love Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and like doesn't punch down. I'm like, that's not true. Like there's fat suits on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. But Brooklyn Nine-Nine is very fat phobic.
The two bumbling characters are like the two fat guys.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, I'm Terry. Like I was like, I'm super fit because I used to be fat, and like, you know, and then it's like, I mean, and New Girl literally is someone who just like rewatched it all the way to the end. It was like, oh my god, like to the very last episode, like you guys were like cracking this. Like it's like whatever feedback like was making its way to them, they did not welcome it at all. And it's like, it's, you know, that it's really, it's funny. I went back and I reread my first novel, More Happy Than Not, for like the 5-year anniversary edition. And while no one ever was making fun of like the fat character, his name was Fat Dave, based on like a friend that I grew up with. They was like Skinny Dave and Fat Dave. All my descriptions of him completely was like centered about his weight. Like that was like the only thing he had going for them. And I erased them all from the deluxe edition. I was like, that there's like a lot of like other things that I think are very true to the Bronx, like the misogyny and everything that like, and the hyper masculinity that I kept, but I was like, this serves nothing. Like I'm not telling that story. I'm not showing enough of like Fat Dave's like life anyway to like even give him like a lot of agency or wins. I was like, this is just stupid. Like it was such an unnecessary obsession with like describing him by his weight. And I don't think I could have gotten there without Dumplin, you know? And yeah.
I think that we don't realize how much it's internalized for us. Like we recently repackaged my very first book, Side Effects May Vary, and like the mean girl in that book is a fat girl, and I had to like go back through and really think about the ways that I was talking about her and describing her. It was one of the things that I requested to go back through and like have a look at after this repackage.
Wow.
So I think it's like it's just like any other bias. Like it's the kind of thing you have to constantly be circling back and like re-examining and reconsidering. Yeah.
Well,
and I love just even being able to talk about that. Sorry, Corey, just because it's like, I think so often whenever we're even like admitting like our past faults or something, like where there's like a risk of like, oh my God, like you're a terrible person still, you know. It's like, no, like, I mean, I'm a constantly evolving person who is like willing to move with the world. And yeah, so anyway, sorry, Corey.
Yeah, it's just know better, do better, right? When you learn something new, you change. If that helps other people feel safer in the spaces that you take up, or it's that easy. And if it's not that easy for you, then go lock yourself away somewhere and make it easy by being harder than we need to. And so very, you know, it's I think I don't know, I'm really distracted because I have the
he just sent me a picture of his panda face. Oh my gosh,
it's so much better than I remember.
He was so
that's a human man. That's a human man.
Okay, he looks sad, but let's not forget that he chose this.
Right.
Oh yeah, it was a beautiful night. They also made me do one time. They made me do Old West photos at a county fair.
Oh
It's
my
the same
God.
fair.
That's
Furious.
right.
I
You
was
were
Julie, like you
so
have those from
mad.
like every year, don't you?
I do. I haven't gone to the state fair in a while, but like the Old West photo booth, I make my friends dress up every year.
Y'all should have seen Adam in that
That
too.
photo.
Oh, I feel
I
like
don't.
I remember
Okay,
looking
I don't
good.
want to. Every couple we've done it with has broken up, so we have to stop. We can't. Ian and I can only do it together. But
Kiss of death.
so I'm really sorry.
I was so angry that you all made me do it. That's
I
probably what
know.
led to this.
It was probably like the tipping moment. Oh my gosh.
That's so funny.
I just realized that. I'm so sorry to the other couples affected by my decision.
Wow.
All right, let's pull up these other questions.
I know.
I have a little question while you're doing that, Adam.
Go ahead.
So to me, Julie, your books remind me of my favorite part of like a John Hughes movie, where you take us into a high school world, you take us into an adolescent sort of universe, and then you lean into and you play on tropes and stereotypes, and you sort of blow them up so that we can see them at their most microscopic levels, and then empathize with people we may not have empathized with before. And I think, I don't know, I don't know if you probably get asked this a lot, but I know that I get asked, and I know Adam does too, like why teenagers? Why do you write about teenagers or write for teenagers? And at one time I was on a panel with Andrew Smith, and he said I don't write for them, I write about them.
Yeah.
And I really, really liked that. And so I think about that a lot when I like am talking to any other writer. And so I just kind of want to know, it's maybe really broad for this event, but why teenagers?
Well, especially Julie, who's like done all middle grade YA and adult now. So like, why have you lived mostly in the YA space?
Well, I think in a way, all of us YA authors are very in love with that coming of age story.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why like so many classics hinge on like that, like, you know, late teen, early like 20s age. It's just a time when you're really learning to interact with the world in a new way for the first time, like without your parents looking over your shoulder in a way. And I think that for me, especially being a fat teenager, being a teenager was the first time I realized that like I had to like really think about the fact that like I might look like this for the rest of my life. And if I'm going to be a fat person forever, what are the things that I can do so that no one notices me and no one notices my body? So for me, that was like I tried to compensate for my fatness by being funny. And so I feel like that moment is a moment that I really lean into, is like, what are the things that we try to like hide what are the things we use to hide ourselves with? I know like growing up, Ian was always into like very like Ian, my spouse, is also fat, and he was always like a Mr. Fix-It. Like he can't say no. Like if you need something, Ian will say yes. Whether or not he can provide that thing, he'll say yes and he'll be there. If there's something broken, literally, if our friends need a ladder, if our friends have a flat tire, if someone's stuck somewhere, the first person anyone calls is Ian. And I think that's such like a masculine leaning thing that fat men learn how to do. They learn how to be a provider, they learn how to be protectors.
Yeah.
And I think like to like make the question just a little bit more specific, I think that's what was so interesting to me about writing a fat like queer boy, was that he didn't satisfy those typical masculine things. Like sure, if Waylon wanted to learn how to do all those things, he could learn how to do all those things. But what happens when boys like that don't fit that like cookie cutter shape that we create for them? I think I strayed from the question a lot, but that's my answer.
No, it's a great answer. And yeah, no, I mean, I love that. I hadn't considered that angle before from the Fat Boys, Fat Men, and just like, you know, creating that those functions to serve. So
I mean, we call like our queer men who are like big, like bears, like we call them, you know what I mean? Like, and like, what if what if like your big burly queer guy just wants to be a freaking queen? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is he still,
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I know many who like in my circles, especially out here, who like are like, I
Yeah.
probably wouldn't call them to, I mean, I'm also useless at all that. I mean, I was just called TaskRabbit. Like I'm useless at like anything, but like but yeah, who are just the fabulous queens that they want to be, you know? And yeah,
And like you can be a
No,
queen
I'm
and
with
change
you.
oil. You can be a queen and learn how to fix a toilet. Like you can be all those things.
100%.
Yeah.
But like, what if you don't lean into that? Like, what if that's not the thing that's like such a defining thing for you? I don't know. I think that men and boys are so defined by
Yeah.
like the tasks and services that they can perform.
And it's just also why stereotypes are like so lazy, right? That they just do not like fill in and like you know, with all the shades of like who a person is and everything. And yes, I can be gay and love Lady Gaga, and I can be gay and love Britney Spears or whatever. So like, but I'm like so much more than that, you know. And yeah, I mean, God, it really is like the way people just think about other people. And this is how you can tell like who does and doesn't have people in their circles, right? Like of different identities. Like, I mean, I'm never going to write about someone who is not in my circle, you know, like I just not like, I don't know what you're going through. I don't know like what your like ups and downs are and everything. So it's just, how can I deliver a authentic character if I'm not there for like that kind of characters like wins and losses, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Makes
Anyway.
it really obvious when white people only have white circles and they write a book about only white circles.
Right.
Yeah.
So
We have a question
Go ahead.
from Devon. And I like this question because it reminds me of the line I love from Dumplin. But do you have a favorite sentence in Pumpkin?
oh my gosh, I should have.
I mean, I could have told you I was going to ask you that question in advance, but I was seeing if
it's
anything
okay.
stood out to you immediately.
Okay, I don't want to spoil anything, so I'll just read the first line because I spend a lot of time on my first lines. 10 years from now, when someone asks me how to survive life as a fat gay kid in a small West Texas town, I will tell them to become best friends with the school nurse.
That's my favorite.
Everybody needs a hideout, you know what I mean?
I
Nurse station is a great hideout.
love that.
I was gonna ask, we were talking about being queens. Why drag? I know that you are a big Drag Race fan. You're the one who introduced me to Drag Race many, many years ago. I'm very behind, by the way, and I'm very sorry.
It's okay.
Why drag, and why do you think that's a good conduit for a queer fat kid to find out who he is, to show who he is?
Yeah. I think that I've been obsessed with drag from like a very young age. Like before I even knew that I loved drag, like even as a kid, like obsessions with like Little Mermaid and Hairspray. And like even if we want to go to like Mrs. Doubtfire, which is a little bit of like a problematic, but you know what I mean? Like I loved like that, like suddenly dressing as someone else and becoming like very like loud bodied. And I think that in this specific book, like drag is just a really good way of like allowing Waylon to accept his body in a way that he doesn't feel like he can when he's just Waylon.
Yeah.
So when he's like, his drag name is Pumpkin Patch, and because he has like bright red hair, and so when he's Pumpkin Patch, he feels like an extension of himself. He still feels like himself, but he feels like he can be prouder of what his body can do and who he is and what he looks like. And that helps him translate like that same love and respect for himself to everyday Waylon. It helps him become that person on the regular.
There's a question from Rose that I like, that I also want to add on to. So Rose is asking if you could see yourself doing a spinoff from like for Dumplin from like Beau's POV. And I want to know if there's any other character from Puddin' and Pumpkin that you would like most likely see yourself doing a spinoff from, or a different novel from another character's POV.
Oh man.
Like who would be most likely?
I don't know. I don't think that I would go for Beau's point of view. I love the good old Twilight trick of like, let's write it from Edward's point of view.
Right.
Like Midnight Sun, you can't go wrong. But I don't think Bo's point of view would do it for me. I don't know that there's someone new in the current cast, or is someone in the current cast who I would revisit as a point of view. I love Hannah, and I could see myself potentially doing that. But I think if I were to write another book, it would probably be like more of like a direct sequel from someone who's already had a point of view.
Yeah.
That would be my first thing to think about doing. Probably not going to happen, but think about it.
Right.
Can you tell us how Hannah was sort of, I know that you're bisexual and you're married to a man, and that can be confusing for fans and stuff. So tell me why it was important for you to write a character like Hannah.
Don't know why.
Because they're stupid. I'm just kidding.
I love you, Corey. He's not kidding.
They're educated about it.
Yeah.
I feel like I've always had a Hannah in my life, like a very like openly queer girl who was like so queer she couldn't hide it. Yeah. And she just kind of let herself be like openly angry about it all the time. And so I always, first off, I was a very angry teenager. I stomped around a lot, looking a lot like what Hannah probably might look like. So I spent a lot of time stomping through my adolescence. So I think that like I automatically connected to a character like Hannah, but also like seeing other people who were like Hannah was always like it was like a safe space. Like, oh, it felt like I'm welcome here. I can go here. I worked at a Hot Topic growing up, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. Like I worked for Hot Topic and Toward growing up. So I spent a lot of time with like people who were like glittery skulls and Doc Martens, and you know, Hannah fits that vibe.
Totally random, but have you read Midnight Sun? Because I know you're a big Twilight fan.
I am a big Twilight fan, and I haven't finished it yet, but I actually think that I'm gonna do the audiobook of it.
Oh, right.
I feel like I know what's coming so much in like the giant hardback, like this thick version of it. And so I feel like the audiobook is going to be my path forward. Have you read Midnight?
No, I haven't, but I only read the first two Twilight books. Okay. But I was tempted because I like Jake Abel, the actor who narrates Midnight Sun. Uh-huh. And because he was in Supernatural in the early seasons that were good, and but I just know you saw Twilight in theaters how many times?
Adam, we didn't talk about this question. I think it was like 22 times.
Wow, Julie.
The thing is, I'm not embarrassed of that.
No, I just
okay.
No,
you should be proud.
I'm not embarrassed. It was a really dark, difficult time in my life. And to cheer me up, my best friend would be like, it's a Tuesday night, let's go see Twilight. And we'd sit there and watch it. And it would be like, do you want to sneak into the next showing? Yeah, let's do it. So
that's why stories save us, right?
And first of all, I'm just laughing because I'm just like, the most I've seen a movie in theaters was Hunger Games, and that was 5 times, and I was exhausted by like the 4th time. So I'm
a movie person, and you can't sit still. Do you know what I mean? Like I think you're like maybe in your old age have become more of like a movie and TV person, but like when like that summer that you and Corey spent together, it was like
right.
You were just like constantly going, and Corey and I were just like, can we watch like The Simpsons or something? Like, can we just like turn our brains off?
I watched something and it gets my brain spinning, and I've got to act on it, you know? So, I mean, I was carrying around as you guys know, I was carrying around like a notebook like everywhere we went, because in case I had an idea, like I had to write it down. Like it was a little jittery.
We know, Adam.
It was intimidating. It was very intimidating.
It was intimidating.
Yeah. I was trying to write my second book.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out our second books. We felt like, oh, we had these books and that's it. It's done.
And I'm like, these two young
National Book Award finalists and a #1 New York Times bestseller. It all worked out. I pushed you guys.
You did push us.
So
it did work out.
Yes. All right, we've got about 10 minutes left. There's a question from Rose. That's another fun one. for those who want to know, what was it like to hang out with Miss Dolly Parton?
Dolly Parton. Okay. I mean, Dolly Parton is as amazing as everyone hopes and thinks she will be. I have met people who I admire before that I've been really disappointed by. No one who's involved in the movie. I should clarify. No one who's involved with the Dumplin movie. But I have met famous people before, or people who are famous to me that I've been like super sad about. Dolly Parton's not one of those people.
Yeah.
I mean, she's like got a little bit of like a fun attitude in person. Like she's a little bit saucy, a little bit spicy. She always like, I don't know how she can possibly like be like so quick on the uptake and always like find like the pun or the funniest little like almost dirty joke everywhere she goes, but it's good. It was perfect. It was everything I imagined, and I still haven't actually processed it yet. I'm still dissociating from that.
I mean, when you write Dolly Parton, because like Dolly Parton's in the first line of Dumplin, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the trick, right? Just if you want to meet
what
someone.
I really love about Dolly Parton like loves the movie and like understands what the story is about, but like Dolly Parton is also like, that girl wrote a whole book about me. Isn't that just so sweet? I'm like, you want to know what, Dolly? I sure did. I wrote a whole book about you.
When she was on the Tonight Show, and she was like, and Julie Murphy wrote a great book.
I know.
And it's like, what is happening?
It's my Facebook header. We turned on the captions and froze the screen, so it just says, and that Julie Murphy wrote a great book.
I would print it on my tombstone.
That should be the blurb. Like that should be on the cover of. Like,
yeah. Oh my god.
It's an actual endorsement. Like you literally should. I'm like not kidding. Like
I'm like literally email
Alessandra
right now. Like,
yeah. But I really think I'm gonna follow up about this.
My dad tried to call me during this event, though. If you're wondering where he is,
I love Julie's dad.
He's very funny. Hi, I love him.
All right. Would you say we had a question? It's from Nikki. Are your parents proud of your books?
This is funny. Okay, so my mom like obsessively reads everything, and my dad is proud of what I do. But like, if it's not MSNBC, my dad can't consume it. That's all my dad pays attention to is MSNBC. So like, he's so proud of me. He has no idea what I'm doing. He's so proud of me though, but like, no clue what my books are about.
Our dads are both obsessed with Rachel Maddow, right?
Yeah, my dad is obsessed with Rachel Maddow. Like he has like Rachel Maddow merch. He's like, like constantly listening to Rachel. Calls her by like her first name at the dinner table. The other day Rachel said this. You know what I mean? Like,
he's beautiful.
Yeah.
Isn't that how it should be?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Healing.
So someone wanted to know. Wait, word. I just lost it. They didn't put their name. That's unfortunate. What is your favorite comfort read?
Oh my gosh. Not the Bible. That was a bad answer.
Just so you know, it's not the Bible.
It's not comforting to me. I'm sorry, Mom, if you're out there. Why did I say that? This is because I'm doing an event with you two.
Yes,
I am way too.
Let the heathen seep in.
Okay, my favorite comfort read. Okay, my favorite comfort read is actually a very sad book that I reread every year called God-Shaped Hole.
Oh my god, yeah, you've talked about that
forever.
Ages.
It's one of the reasons I'm a writer. But yeah, like God-Shaped Hole, Twilight. I mean, like just like fun romance novels.
I'm now remembering being at your house and like whenever we visited or whenever I stayed for a few days and just like looking at all your books, and I would just like get up from the table at one point and just grab a book and would just start like looking through something and reading random lines, and like I just got you mentioned God-Shaped Hole, like I got completely transported back to like seeing it on your shelf, and I love it.
I love it so much.
So you have, we have like 5 minutes left, but like do you want to talk about your adult debut?
Oh, sure. I have an adult book coming out in August called If the Shoe Fits. And this will be out in August. It's a Disney book. It's a retelling of Cinderella. And if you can't tell, Cinderella is plus size and it's set on it's like contemporary. So it's set on like a reality TV show that's sort of modeled after The Bachelor. It's a lot of fun. And then in the fall, the second Faith book will be out. So more fun.
3 books in 1 year.
Yeah, I'm never doing this again.
She's always right.
I think I'm gonna go work at Target after this.
Yeah. Wait, so how many books total is that?
How many books total?
By the end of the year, how many will you have published total?
Okay, we gotta count. Side Effects May Vary, Dumplin, Ramona, Puddin', Dear Sweet Pea.
Wow.
Faith, Pumpkin, If the Shoe Fits.
And then Faith 2.
The second Faith book. And then I have 1 or 2 coming next year.
I'm like, what's book number 10?
I know. I actually don't know which book is going to be book number 10 yet. So if anyone out there from HarperCollins is listening, call me, let me know. Let me know what the plan is. We'll figure it out.
That's amazing. And also, Adam, how many books have you done now?
I just turned in my 7th and I just started my 8th.
Wow.
You were not that far behind me. Don't act like this is like.
But I haven't done 3 in a year. So and two of those were co-writes.
Co-writes help rack up.
They do. And they're also I mean, Here's to Us, the second What If It's Us book is probably, it's one of the hardest. I mean, we had to write it during a pandemic when I was also highly suicidal and finishing my other hardest book ever. So it was just like, that was not fun. But alive and the book is done. So
you're alive, you're here, the book is done, where we can go outside without masks, kind of.
Because we are vaccinated. And yeah.
Wow.
Fun time.
You guys have been writing a lot. Slow down. But don't slow down, because everyone loves your books and this is such a joy.
Yes.
And it is such a joy.
We're excited for you to finish the next thing. Oh,
if I'm working on something, I'm excited about it too.
I was like, I don't want to jinx it because I feel good about this.
We're thinking. I have 3 books out. We're very invested in a fourth idea.
You're like a slow cooker, though.
I'm a slow cooker.
I wish that I could be a slow cooker.
I very purposefully ran away, and I did that because I needed a little bit of a break. And
you need a brain break.
Oh, so great.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, there's so much.
Oh my God. Ian is standing right here and is telling me that we have to tell everyone how you injured yourself. Just for the record, I also injured myself.
Yeah, y'all both share your stories.
I threw my back out taking off a jumpsuit.
That's the way.
Adam's turn.
I threw my back out by sitting in this chair and was on FaceTime with a friend earlier. And my neck hurt. And now it may have something to do with the fact that I was learning how to swim yesterday and it just kind of caught up to me late. Maybe. But I went to go meet my trainer at the gym in my building, and she was like, I can't work with you like this. Like, go to the chiropractor. I was like, okay.
You were extreme FaceTiming.
Yeah, extreme FaceTiming.
And
I do sports. Pandemic sport.
Hasn't hurt me.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Sports. I'm so excited about the Olympics. Okay, that has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
But
love it. Okay, so
we
are going to bring
Mandy back.
I think everyone's coming back for a second. Okay. Oh, just Mandy, right? Not there.
Yes. So I'm hoping that I'm back on camera. And I wanted to say, what an amazing conversation. It really felt like we were eavesdropping on a reunion of old friends, and, probably heard some stories that we'd never thought we would hear. So really thankful that we were able to do this. I did want to give all of our viewers a quick reminder that you can pre-order until tomorrow, and then just regular order a signed copy of Pumpkin for yourself through our partner NTTBF Books. And the first 100 copies will be personalized and come with an enamel pin, and all of the orders will be signed. So check out NTTBF Books. Also, if you're local, we're doing a summer reading program for teens. We're doing summer reading for everyone, but we have a special teen program this summer. It starts June 1st. It's called Fantastical Tales, and we are giving away free books and other prizes to those who participate. One lucky person's going to get an iPad mini. So just watch out tonight for Irving Public Library and our social media for more information. That's all of the business that I had to get out of the way. But I definitely want to say special thanks to Corey and Adam for gracing us with their presence tonight, even in the face of back pain. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
And I'm just so honored that we were able to have this party with you, Julie.
So
congratulations.
Congratulations.
And I hope everybody picks up Pumpkin when it shelves tomorrow.
Yes. Happy Pumpkin Eve.
Yay, Pumpkin Eve.
Yay. You turn into a pumpkin at midnight.
Oh my God, finally.
That's your next TikTok, Julie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You got to work on it like right now.
It's a beautiful book, Julie. Thank you so much for letting us be part of this. What a wonderful series you've given kids, and I wish I could go back in time and enjoy them as a teen, but I sure like doing it as an adult too. So
yeah.
Thank you, my friend.
Ditto.
I love you.
All right. Mwah, congratulations.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
Oh, do we sign off? Okay.
Leave.
Right?
How do I get out of here?
How do I get out?
Leave meeting?
This event.